Hello.
Hi.
I beat you to it this time.
You did.
You always say the hello first.
I always say hi.
You take the hello from me,
Yes.
and you take the ending of it's just a chat from me.
Take me to jail.
I will. I feel like
Put me in handcuffs.
I feel like I don't get enough attention on the. I'm totally kidding. Totally kidding.
Episode 4.
Totally
He's
kidding.
like,
There's contention already.
I can't do it anymore.
Podcast split up.
Break up.
Yep, that's it. We made it 4 episodes.
We did, and it's a great feeling, honestly.
Yes.
It's really great. But you mentioned something to me the other day that piqued my interest.
Correct. And I'll tell the story, but I want to I do want to start by saying too, now we've gotten in the habit where we'll be talking as friends, either at work or like outside of work, and then we'll like something will come up like a story or something like that, and then we'll be like, save it for the podcast.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
our thing is that we don't know each other and like we're getting to know each other in real time. Like, you know how someone tells you a story and you're like, last episode I was like, I'm an extra in a TV show, and you were like, what? Like that's the reaction that we're trying to get with this podcast is like finding stuff out about each other in real time. But it's also making for a horrible friendship outside of the podcast because we just won't finish.
We can only talk 2 days a month.
Yeah, because we'll just like talk and they'll be like, that's a good idea for the podcast. Don't say anymore. And then we're like, okay, so the weather's crazy.
Then you smell snow and you're a meteorologist, but not really.
So my story.
Yes, you told me something that piqued my interest. So I'm a huge fan of true crime, and this story relates, apparently, supposedly, to true crime.
Well, I mean, nobody really investigated that I know of for 2 parts of the story.
I want everyone to know that I have a list in my phone of things like that happen, where it's like, stop talking. I'm going to write this down. And what I have in my phone, the title of this topic requires an investigation.
It does.
So what do you mean?
What do we title it? Atlantic City
Murder Story.
Yes. But I don't think there was murder involved. I think the guy, me and my best friend survived, and the guy that's the other half of the story
is dead.
I think he survived. He was moving when we left him.
Plot twist. Is it about you?
No, we were just there. Okay. So my best friend and I, we do enjoy the gambling. But like I will say, and I'm putting this out there responsibly, you do not gamble more than you can afford to lose, and we just have our fun and we enjoy. So we would go to Atlantic City quite often. Great road trip, 3 hours away, and then like stay over.
This was before you were married.
Yeah. I mean, I think during this, Serena and I might have been dating, but I'm not 100% sure. That's a great question. But I think we might have been. Yeah, I don't think we were. Okay. But we went to Atlantic City a few times. And I'll start this by saying, and you've probably had this too, like, you know, when you've like go to like a new bar or a new restaurant or just something like, especially like maybe like a bar, right? Like where it's like just fun atmosphere. And you have such a great time the first time, and you're chasing that, like, it's going to be so great that second time, right? So we went to Atlantic City one time, went to this bar, great happy hour, like everything. We had a fantastic time. Like TVs were on, like just different stuff. It was just such a great time. So then like jump to like, I don't know, 6 months, however long later, we're like, let's go to Atlantic City again. And we're like, we're going to go to the same bar. It's going to be a great time. Not a great time.
The opposite of a great time.
So it started with just, I mean, it was a good time in general for Atlantic City, but it started with like, we had to go to the bathroom, right? So me and my best friend, we go to the bathroom. I don't know how I didn't notice. I noticed there was a guy leaning on the sink and had his hand over the sink.
Oh.
And then I didn't really notice, like there was 2 sides of the like sinks on both sides. I just went to that side because I was like, that guy maybe, and also it's Atlantic City. I thought maybe he was getting sick. I thought maybe he had a crazy night. And I was like, not my place, not my thing, like
not
whatever.
My circus, not my monkeys.
Correct. So I just washed my hands, go. My best friend didn't realize that he was like kind of leaned over. He went to like a sink next to him a little bit. We come out and he's like, dude, did you see that guy? I was like, yeah, he looked like he was kind of maybe sick. And he's like, no. His hand was gushing blood, like just blood, as if like, I mean, my best friend said it was like to the point that maybe like a finger was off, like, but not really, but like it was just so much blood, like
Holy
around
hell. In a public bar bathroom.
public bar bathroom. I mean, casino bathroom. The bar was in the casino, so like
Gotcha.
in a like I mean.
Anybody
around. And so I was like, are you serious? So then we just like, we go play some slots off to the side, kind of in the same area because we just wanted to like play around there. And we look over. That same guy is laying on the ground with security around him, like trying to help him. And like, and EMTs came and everything, probably because he lost so much blood
that he probably
that
passed
he was like,
out.
he probably like, oh, I'll just wrap it and then go wherever I need to go. And
Play
he
my
literally
slots, get my money.
He literally got from like me to you, probably from like out of the bathroom to like where he like collapsed.
Holy shit.
And so, and I mean, neither my best friend and I are trained EMTs. What are we gonna do? And that's it. So we just kind of, so we don't know why there was so much blood. We don't know what happened to him. It was just wild. So that means there was blood in the bathroom and blood on the casino floor.
Lots of DNA. Because unless he shattered a glass in his hand.
That could have been, right? So that could have been. He could have maybe like got like, oh, and then like broke a beer bottle and then.
Yeah. Or he killed somebody
That's
before he went to the casino and hurt himself on the way. Maybe he was disposing of the body and he hurt himself on whatever he was using to dispose the body with.
That's true. Or it is Atlantic City and he could have owed the mafia money and got his finger cut off.
Or he was on drugs and hurt himself in a way that he doesn't
even remember.
There's just so
much to that and we have no idea. But there's another half. So then we were like, well, we still want to make this a fun trip. Yes. Let's go to that bar. It will be we're going to save the night with this like really weird situation. So we're sitting, it still was a good bar. Still was a good like hangout, great people around at the time. And we're just hanging out watching TV and this guy is like sits next to me. So it's this guy, me, and then my best friend at the bar. And we were having just like normal bar conversation, but like me and my best friend aren't kind of like that with like strangers. Like we kind of just like we do our thing, you do your thing, and like maybe just like, hey, hello, and then like whatever. But he was like talking a lot, so it was like, and he was next to me, so I had to like do the talking. My best friend was just like, good luck with that, right? But then he was like talking.
My friends with me whenever a man comes up to me. In a bar. Can I derail? The last time I went to a bar in Philly, this guy came up to me to try to hit on me, and his pickup line. So, the bar that I went to in Philly was a bar that had a ball pit in it.
Okay.
It was an amazing bar. If you know what bar I'm talking about, you should go there because it was super fun. But so I had to go to the bathroom with one of the other girls in our group. She and I went to the bathroom. My friends saw the line to the ball pit was super short.
Yeah.
They didn't know where I went. So they thought that I was just like maybe getting a drink, like maybe like getting a breather, like whatever. They got in line. They texted me, hey, get in line for the bar. To the ball pit. I'm in the bathroom, like missed it. So I'm like watching them in the ball pit having the time of their lives together, and I was standing on the outside behind like a netted fence, like let me in. It was so depressing. But I honestly also watched them having fun was beautiful.
Good time.
It was beautiful. But this guy comes up to me and I'm with the other girl and he was like, hey, and I was like, no. The words that came out of my mouth were no. And he was like, I'm sorry. Were you at Disneyland last year? Yeah. And I was like, I've never been on a plane. I've never been.
Did you be like, have you watched? It's just a chat.
I was like, I've never been on a plane. I've never been to Disneyland. I have no idea what you're talking about. He's like, no, you were there last year. And I was like, no, never been. Then he starts talking to me. My friend comes up out of nowhere and she did one of those. She apparently saw, from my knowledge, from the ball pit. Comes out of the ball pit.
Also, you have very strong facial reactions to things. So like during this, your friend probably saw you being like
if I'm being honest, if I'm looking at the camera right now, I'm looking at my audience. And if you're the guy. I was honestly probably like, no, I've never been on a plane. No, I've never been to Disneyland. Like, eye roll. She comes flying out of the ball pit. Now, this girl, I love her with all my heart. She's super extroverted and she's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
She comes flying out. She comes up to me. She's like, hey, I got this one. She's like, don't worry about it. I got it. Go in the ball pit. And I'm like, okay. So then she like entertains him and then runs away. But it was the same deal of like, good luck with that.
Right,
like,
when someone just like kind of invades your
space.
Space.
Like I was standing there with the other girl that I had met that day through this group, just watching my friends have the best time of their life. And this guy comes up and is like,
he's like,
you ever been to Disneyland?
And he's probably like, I'm gonna use the Disneyland line. It's gonna hit this. How many times do you think he's used that line?
157. There's
and how what is he 0 for 157?
Do you want to know the best part?
Disney adult, she'll probably be like, I was. Okay, go ahead. Best part.
The best part about this bar is huge. It has an ice bar in it as well. So a ball pit, a bar, photo booth,
I saw the picture
bar.
and I was like, is this one place?
One place. It was huge. It was gigantic. So my friend derails him away from me because she could tell. Not interested, not having it. We go into the ice bar, like an hour. Now, mind you, this is for my friend's birthday, one of my dearest friend's birthdays. We had a huge group.
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking like 15 to 20 people. We had this huge group of people that came to celebrate, and we were all traveling in a herd. We go into the ice bar, and he's taking pictures with other girls in my group. And I never got to ask them. Did he ask you if he went to Disneyland or if you
need to find out?
I need to. I should message them.
Yeah,
like, hey,
you need
guys.
to find out if he used the Disneyland line
on them.
Because I will say, I mean, it's tough out there. I'm not going to knock the guy too much, right? It's tough out there for everybody, but it's tough out there for like guys. Guys usually have to make the first move. I know, like 2023, like you're the women, right? Like everything, but like it's normal, typical for the guy making it. So, but like he needs to find a better line. To maybe
not
have
to mention, he was not cute.
Okay, that's
like not even kind. He was a nice person,
maybe
but
change
physically
the line.
it wasn't gonna work.
Okay, which is fine.
It's fine.
But he also needs a new line.
New line. I've been to Universal.
Yeah.
But I didn't care enough about what he was telling me to be like, no, I've never been to Disneyland. But
let's finish this.
I've been to Universal. No, I was just like, no, don't talk to me.
I do have a follow-up question about Philly.
Sure.
But I could finish my story real quick if you want real quick.
Yeah.
So we had the guy next to us, blah, talking. Like, this is going to sound weird. Like, he had money. Like, he brought out like a wad of cash. Like, but not like a super flex, but like he was just paying his stuff.
But
and like,
was he paying for other people?
So he bought like us.
But you didn't know him.
No, but he bought us drinks. He bought some other people drink, but like he was like more attached to us.
Gotcha.
Right? But like, and I think maybe we had like 2 drinks that he bought us, like maybe, but like we all were just, and we were like, no, and he's like, it's no big deal. Like he also said he gambles a lot, he gets comped a lot, like he gets comped hotels, and like all this stuff. We kind of thought he was like traveling to like maybe a truck driver. That's what we kind of got a sense of like what he did.
Okay.
It went instantly from like 100 of just like we're all having a good time to like 0 of just not a great time. He got super serious. He got
and told you he was in the Illuminati.
No, he was like, where's my money for the drinks that I bought? It was so weird. I don't even know how to explain it. To this day, my best friend and I have no idea how the switch got flipped in this guy's head. And like, we almost think that I almost think he was like a serial killer, right? Because the other part of that is we're realizing that the tone of this conversation is getting really sketchy and really weird and really angry and hostile. So we were like, hey, what do we owe left from this drink? So we paid, we threw some cash down, and we started to walk away from the bar. And we were like, hey man, I don't know like what, like you were buying drinks for everybody. Like, we don't know what's going on here. And then he was just like eyeballing my best friend of just like, what, like the F bro, all this. It was so weird. We start walking away because like we go to another casino just to try to get out of the area. Mm-hmm. We look behind. He's behind us. I swear to God. And this is the 100% truth. I mean, we've never lied on this podcast, but this story sounds crazy, and it's true. We look behind, and there was like 2 casinos that were like attached from like a hallway thing. So we were like, okay, he's behind us. So we go up the escalator to get to the hallway, and he's coming up the escalator. He's like eyeballing us. And then we're at the top of the escalator. We're like still walking fast. He's like already at the top of the escalator. What? We start booking it and running. He starts running too. So we are running into another casino, down the end of the escalator, around different machines to try to lose him. We run out to the boardwalk, sprint down the boardwalk to another casino to then go in there and go throughout. And we eventually lost him. And we have no idea how that situation happened and what that was all about. But he was literally chasing after us.
Can I ask what year this was?
Oh, gosh. I mean...
like the 40s because you're old?
1940s. Early 2000s. I mean, when did I... So I graduated college in 2009, so it had to be like 2010, 2011.
I'm really big into serial killers. I don't know that there were...
But you don't know. I think he's a truck driver. He could have been a serial killer across the entire United States.
But there's not a Netflix documentary on it.
There might... Maybe it is.
How do you feel about... people have very split opinions on this.
On what?
Serial killers getting Netflix documentaries.
Oh, and like romanticizing
Some
it.
Some people think that it is like, I don't want to say discrediting, but also it's just more so like explaining the story well enough to where somebody else who might be just as mentally
and getting ideas.
Yes.
Okay. So, and I won't go on a tangent, but I do think I agree with the part that like it sucks for the victims' families. Like that's the hard part. I think. Right.
Well, that's from Dahmer.
Well, yeah, but just in general. I mean,
did you watch Dahmer?
I did not. I see all the memes on TikTok. It's pretty funny.
It is funny because I have watched it. Now, what I will say,
yes,
my best friend in the whole world, she and I watched it. We don't live together, but she watched it at her place. I watched it at my place. We touched base. Evan Peters' place.
Yes.
Jeffrey Dahmer. We love Evan Peters.
I think a lot of people do.
He's a wonderful actor. We found ourselves watching this documentary about this terrible human, this troubled, dysmorphed mentally, terrible human being. But we watched him as Evan Peters. And there were some parts in the show where she would text me and say, why do I feel bad for him? Why am I sad for him?
For Dahmer or for Evan Peters?
And that's the hard part. Because you have all these people, right? Because it was like, do I feel, because you're watching it and, you know, Evan Peters is so talented. He just completely consumes himself into whoever he's portraying. And
method act.
Yes. And he's phenomenal. And you have.
Maybe he's a serial killer.
Was he acting?
I don't know. I should watch it. I should watch it.
Should. Do you like scary stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I do have a follow-up question for you for serial killers, though.
Okay.
Sometimes, I do like. So I'm a big Criminal Minds fan. You ever watch the show Criminal Minds?
No. Have you ever watched?
This is the worst damn podcast ever.
Have you ever watched Hawaii Five-0?
No. How's that about serial killers? Criminal Minds is definitely about serial killers.
Are you freaking kidding me?
Hawaii Five-0 is like a cop show in Hawaii. The 5-0, the Popo.
Yeah, but it's like about like every episode's about a new murder.
A new murder, but Criminal Minds is about like serial killers. Anyways, I'm gonna ask you my question, and we're gonna derail because we're not gonna agree on that. Hawaii 5-0.
Dano.
Book 'em, Dano.
Book 'em, Dano?
Yeah. I know the catchphrase.
What the hell is the main character's name?
Dano.
No. His real name is Alex O'Loughlin.
Okay.
He's Australian, and he's beautiful.
Okay. So if he used the
beautiful.
Disney landline, it would have been great.
What the hell is his name?
I don't know. Okay, I want to ask you my question.
Ask the question.
Sometimes, and it kind of goes to your like watching and like romanticizing serial killers and all these documentaries.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever find it crazy that these people actually exist. Like sometimes that boggles my mind, and that there's serial killers still out there. Like
who are potentially.
I don't know the number. What's the number? There's a number of how many active serial killers there are.
That have an open case?
Yeah, that like they think how many active serial killers are out there. The FBI estimates that there's between 25 and 50 active serial killers in the United States at any given time, and many of them have never been caught. That's what I mean. Doesn't that freak you out?
It does, but it doesn't, because if I think about it too much, I'll never sleep again.
There's 50 states, 50 serial killers. That's probably wouldn't pay you.
That was such good math.
Thanks.
The only serial killer. Now this is probably gonna make me sound like super basic, but like I watch all the true crime episodes, like cult documentaries, true crime documentaries, haunted, like all that kind of stuff. The only time one of those has ever gotten in my head was Richard Ramirez.
I don't know who that is. I was hoping you were going to say someone else because I did a presentation on one, and I was hoping it was
Ted Bundy?
No.
Who?
John Wayne Gacy. Okay. Do you have anything about your Ramirez that you want to say? Because I would just want to tell you about the John Wayne Gacy presentation.
So Richard Ramirez.
I don't think I know who that is. Maybe I do.
He's also known as the Night Stalker.
It all sounds familiar. I just don't know the story.
Long story short, he was basically a Satanist.
Okay.
Who lived in the Cecil. Lived in the Cecil Hotel.
Throwback.
Yeah, which is why that hotel is also very interesting.
Okay.
Spent a lot of his time there. He was a Satanist and basically used to stalk around neighborhoods and just decide whether or not a house was a target based on Satan, but also if you left your doors and windows unlocked, that was Satan's sign that he was able to come in and kill you. That's wild. He would it was just malicious murder. And he was like, and if you watch, there's a documentary on Netflix, it's called The Night Stalker. He looks like Ted Bundy.
Yeah.
Very presentable person. Mm-hmm. If you saw him walking on the street, you probably wouldn't blink.
Know.
You wouldn't blink. If you saw Richard Ramirez walking down the street, you would be like,
I need to go.
I need to get the hell out of here, 0%.
I should not be next to him at a bar in Atlantic City.
No, I shouldn't be next to him at a bar in Atlantic City. I should lock my window tonight just because I saw this person. But
I would die. We don't lock our doors are locked.
You're also in a very different part of town.
Correct, but I'm just saying. But if he was in this part of town, there's times where if we're running in and out of the car, we just forget to leave the door.
When he was in court, he had a pentagram.
I know what you're talking about.
On his hand.
So is there there's probably pictures okay, so I think
super, super tall.
Yeah.
Lanky. Yep. Really skinny, weird markings, like tattoos, but there were more like markings in his area of belief. And I remember the one clip in court was just him holding up his hand, and one had a pentagram and one had a saying on it. And I can't remember what the saying was, but that image just stayed in my head. And sometimes if I think about him, he's the only serial killer that genuinely gives me chills because he was just pure.
There's probably
evil.
Out of the 25 to 50 that are still active, there's probably some that are just as crazy as that. And they're still out there coming for you.
I'm getting a security bar and maybe a security guard.
Yes.
Don't try me. I also do MMA, so don't try me. Hey, yeah.
Yeah. 25 to 50. Okay.
John Wayne Gacy.
And this
killer
isn't
clown.
This isn't even a crazy story, but it's just.
Did you know he's not a killer clown?
What do you mean he's not a killer clown?
He never killed anybody in a clown suit.
Oh, I know that.
Oh, okay.
But he dressed as that for a
children's birthday
side
parties.
Gig. Yeah. No, I was in a criminology class at community college. It was just a whatever class. But the guy that taught the class, who's the guy in our area? Hugo Solinsky, right?
Okay.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
I think so.
Okay, that guy that killed
last name sounds familiar.
Yeah, he interviewed him.
Was he a murderer too?
I think so. I
have so many things. True crime is my stuff.
Hugo.
Keeping it PG for the kids.
Selinsky. Yeah, Luzerne County, our area, blah, 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 blah. Like, killed people after bodies of at least 5 people found in the yard, all that stuff. But so our criminology teacher, like, this was a night class because his time during the day was interviewing people in our area for, like, crimes and stuff like that. So he had interviewed all that stuff. So he was, like, really in the know of all that stuff. He made people break into groups, group projects. Always suck, right? Okay, this
and
is
you definitely took the lead.
No, in some parts.
Okay.
But group projects suck, right? For some reason, our group meshed really well.
Oh, good.
And then we had John Wayne Gacy, which is a great story.
Best.
We made the most amazing presentation. I think we had to present, I think it was like a 30-minute presentation because there's 4 of us, so it was broken up. We went, and he was okay with it. We went over. We went to 40 minutes of a presentation. And there was a part where I got the music and I played like clown music, the dun 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 dun, and I played that part during our presentation when we were talking about like some of the murders they did and all that stuff. And our teacher literally was like, I have never done this for this kind of presentation. He's like, you're all getting a 100, like A+ on this presentation.
Oh my God.
Because it was just, but we were so
Invested,
infatuated
yes.
with his story.
It's so amazing how you can fall into the life of a murderer.
I know. But it's like, that's why there's 25 to 50 still active. I mean, nobody would have known that for John Wayne Gacy.
So, like, here's the thing. I
like it.
This
is horrible.
I get influenced by TikTok to buy ice rollers for my face and to buy new long sleeve T-shirts.
Okay. My wife bought me this because she saw it on social media.
On social media. So it's terrifying to think that there are people out there who get influenced by ice rollers and T-shirts and sweatpants and makeup and toys and bags, and people who get influenced to murder people.
But you would argue that they had
my argument to people who say
precursor to murder.
My argument to people who say that now, aside from the victims,
yes,
and their families, because it has to be so hard to relive, I can't even imagine.
Correct.
My argument is when they say that it's teaching people, only to the counterpoint of it's teaching people how to kill people. My argument is almost every documentary ends with that person in jail.
Correct. But they all think they're different. And also, they don't care about jail. If you know anything about serial killers.
One of my biggest fears in life is going to prison.
I always thought I was going to go to prison. I always.
Me too. I should
be. And I didn't do. I was like.
I was a very troubled teenager.
I was a square. Like, literally, my friends still call me a square.
I was the opposite of that. I was such a terrible. My God bless my parents for not actually locking me in the attic.
But these guys don't care about going to prison.
It's not scary to me. It wasn't scary to me then because I didn't have anything to live for. But in terms of like, I didn't go to college yet. I didn't have a job. Now I'm like, holy crap. Like if something ever were to happen, like a total freak accident where I got framed or like I did something like accident, didn't know it was a crime.
Yeah.
And I went to jail, I wouldn't last.
But they don't care.
They don't.
They almost want to be in jail because they'll have the legacy. Like they don't want to like die.
Oh, who wrote that?
What?
The Unabomber?
Are you telling me I'm quoting the Unabomber and I don't even know it?
No. The Unabomber, I think, wrote a My Story type of thing. The Unabomber. And there was somebody else before him, I think, that did that.
I can't think of the word, but I know what you're... I'm not going to look up it again because we've looked up 3 things and two or three things in this episode. But like... Yeah, like a book. Like a penned a letter.
And like there are... Sorry, like scratching your couch. There are people who like they do that. Like the Unabomber was one of. There was somebody, and I can't remember. And I don't think it was the Unabomber who started it, but there was somebody went
Manifesto.
to jail. Manifesto, and he wrote it, and he did it.
Like they want to be in jail.
Yeah,
and they want to write their story, and they want to go down in history. You have to
keep in mind, like Dahmer got, according to the documentary. And TV show, got money he got
money for what?
people built a fan base for him.
Oh, that I thought you meant like Netflix
like
paid
people.
him
No,
for.
he's dead, hon.
I didn't know that.
He was murdered in prison. He was like,
Wait.
his skull got smashed in.
Really?
Yeah. Do you want me to tell you how?
You just told me his skull got smashed.
Yeah, but like the person who killed him went crazy and learned about him and figured out what he did. Because really in prison, nobody knows what you do. They just know that you're there. And this guy...
This seems fake. I think you're wrong.
No.
How would they not know? He's like one of the most prolific serial killers ever.
But this guy was in jail.
Word gets around.
So he went to the library in prison, requested documents and paperwork and like newspapers, started reading, found this guy was also African American, black. He went into the library, started realizing that Dahmer killed gay black men primarily.
And went nuts.
And went crazy and was assigned to... And everybody in the prison wanted Dahmer dead because of what he did. And this guy was assigned to cleaning duty the same day as Dahmer. And in the show...
Should we say spoiler alert?
Spoiler alert. In the show, the guard leaves the room. Okay. And that's when he gets like bludgeoned to the head and killed and like his skull gets smashed in. Real life, they completely 100% deny that. They never left the room. They never put them on the same schedule together on purpose. In the show, it was all intentional.
Yeah.
But in real life, they say they didn't do that. So, but yeah, and it was actually, but that's the scene where Kate, my best friend, she was like, I felt terrible.
I feel so sorry for this.
But it was Evan Peters.
But you felt bad for Evan Peters.
Yeah. But it's crazy. He's listen, I feel awful for the families. I feel awful for the victims. You should not have had to relive that. They should not have focused as much on the victims as they did. Dahmer in himself is an enigma and a very interesting study.
And you're just very happy, though, that they made a Netflix.
With Evan Peters. He's pretty to look at. It's terrible, right? What has society built us up to? That's normal.
We're desensitized to everything.
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 And you try to feel, but it's hard because you're desensitized.
There's too much to feel.
There's so much happening. It's sensory overload.
Yeah, there's nothing. You would turn on the news and you don't even know what's going on.
Because you're just trying to follow everything.
Yeah, and you can't even follow what's going on in your own neighborhood.
I don't remember what I had for dinner yesterday.
Probably nothing because you didn't eat.
I don't eat. I didn't eat this week.
She had pizza
Skinny
today,
bean.
But yeah, just lock your doors. And there's 25 to 50 active serial killers, and one of those
is Evan Peters.
Is Evan Peters or a truck driver that goes around Atlantic City killing people.
Or Chris Pratt.
And
it's just a chat, really.
Yep.
That's all it is.
Just a chat.